Happy hump day, everybody. This is Bryan C. And in this video today, I'm going to be reviewing and giving an overview for PopUp Domination 3.0. This video is for anybody who either wants to or is curious about how to make a pop-up appear on their website, and more specifically, a WordPress-based website. PopUp Domination itself provides a standalone version as well, but most people do use WordPress that are using this particular tool. So I'm going to try to keep this video under 30 minutes, but I am going to do a fairly in-depth presentation about how to set up things on the back end. Now, one additional benefit to using a plugin like PopUp Domination is that in addition to the pop-up that can display at the beginning or at the end or sometimes in the middle of a visit to a website, it actually provides a way of creating a campaign that will show just as opt-ins within content itself. So for example, on your screen you see an offer in a pop-up for a free ebook, but this exact same campaign, I use a similar technique in another website of mine where it actually just appears as an opt-in within a content. So this is just a page about 5 myths about cruising and cruise trips. And what I'm actually going to be showing you today here at Affiliate Networker News, this is a brand new website that I literally have just started setting up. It has very little content, but I always set up my campaigns first for my pop-ups, because as people start to discover my content, I want to make sure that I offer them value and additional opportunities through a subscription. So I always make sure this piece is right before I even start building a whole lot of content on here. Alright, so the offer that we're going to be looking at today that I'm building is for a free ebook. It's tied to Aweber. Alright, so they're going to get a free PDF on how to make super affiliate commissions, but then they're also going to get a series of emails over about 39 days, not necessarily every single day, but they're going to get tips on how to use the material that's in the ebook. All right, so that's the value of providing a pop-up, but how exactly do you do it? Well, as I said, I selected PopUp Domination 3.0. There's some other ways of doing it, but this is an extremely powerful tool, and frankly, there's a lot of things built into it. So PopUp Domination is available, as I said, as either a standalone or as a WordPress plugin. It installs just like any other WordPress plugin, so I'm not going to go over the details of how to do the installation itself, but rather once you have it installed and activated, what you do with it. Now, one of the things I particularly like about this particular plugin is that it installs as its own separate menu item here on the left. That is not always the case with a lot of plugins in WordPress, so it might end up being under settings or tools or someplace like that, but I like the fact it has its own menu. So once you click it, you also have all of these other menu items here, and we're going to go over all of these, some of these more deeply than others, and they're in the order that you most often would access them. So once these other things are set up, you probably won't touch some of these things very often. Right, so I already have 2 campaigns set up. One is the actual pop-up, which is here, and then the other is for a in-post campaign or content. So once that is set up, you literally just use this shortcode. If you're not familiar with shortcodes, Google WordPress shortcodes and it'll tell you about that. But these shortcodes allow you to insert content into various areas, whether it's posts or different pages or sometimes even widgets. Now, once pop-up is installed initially, it will be inactive. You'll see up here mine says that it is active right here, and this will say either turn on or turn off. So to turn on, you would click that to make it active, and then that toggles over to turn off. So if you need to site-wide turn off the plugin, you simply can turn it off here. However, what I recommend you do is you may have different campaigns that you're testing or deleting at various times. It's better just to turn them on or off here, because you can actually turn these on and off, and you'll see it goes to red and then on to make it go back to green again. Alright, so it's better to manipulate your individual campaigns here rather than turning off the plugin site-wide. Now, when you do initially set up a campaign, you'll need to actually set up the email list manager as part of the process. So you can either do that first, or you can do that as you build a campaign. So I'm going to show you how to do that as you build the campaign, but we are going to use this existing campaign as the example. So initially, when this pops up, you'll need to give the pop-up a name, a unique name, then give it a description, and you can be as vague or specific as you like. You'll see here where they have connected to my mailing list A. That's just, again, these are just suggestions of names for mailing lists. But one of the things I'm going to show you here in a little bit is A/B testing. So if you're actually planning on doing some A/B testing, you may want to call this, for example, I might want to call this A instead, so that when I go to do my A/B testing, it's going to be a little bit easier to determine. Alright, so once you have your name and your description, it already is going to be in look and feel here. Alright, you're going to choose a template or style color, and on almost all of these templates it's going to default to blue as the default color. It's also going to default to a button color of blue. Now I recommend though that you use contrasting colors, and I happen to like blue and orange, plus many of my websites are designed around a blue theme because blue is a color that's appealing to both men and women. Alright, so if you have a website that tailors specifically either to just men or just women, you might do some Googling and research some psychology of color to see what kind of colors may be more appealing for the two different genders. Alright. Now whenever you select a template, you're going to see a preview here in the middle of an image. Now the preview itself is not a live preview. This is just a static image that the plugin will load to show you an idea of what you're selecting and what it might look like with the default settings. Alright, so once you have those particular settings, then you're ready to go to content. Now one other thing before I move on is help. Alright, so I've just expanded that, and now I'm going to shrink it again. Each one of these tabs is going to have help available for you, usually. Alright, so now I've gone to content. You're going to select a title. They recommend up to 50 characters, but you're okay going over the limit as long as it doesn't look bad. So for example, that's why I always have this always open where I can look at it, because I don't think that particularly looks too bad. You definitely don't want this headline to end up being 3 lines long, or it really does start to look bad. Each theme is going to be a little bit different, so it's kind of important that you check that out each time. Then the short paragraph, oops, I scrolled too far. This short paragraph here, they recommend that you stay around 160 characters. Again, I'm over the limit, but you go back to the theme or the template and it doesn't look that bad. If I had shortened it a bit, it would have only been 2 lines long. But again, with what I'm saying, I felt it was more important to have that particular copy. Then you have footer security note. I highly recommend, as do almost all the mail list providers, that you provide some type of a security note. This is your assurance to the people visiting your site and your potential subscribers that you're not going to abuse their email. You know, we live in a world now where there's so much spamming, there's so much phishing, there's so much going on with people's email addresses that they're very, very protective. So you want to comfort them and minimize the perceived risk of providing their email to you. So this is where you do that. And again, for the template, it's going to show down here with this nice little lock logo. All right, this little icon right here. So that's where that's going to appear. The last thing on this page that you can set is this button text. So here I say get my free ebook now. And it's actually here at the bottom, get my free ebook now. All right, so that's where that's coming from. All the templates in PopUp Domination are going to have that as a choice. Some of these different boxes are not available in all of them. Usually the title, the short paragraph, the security note, and then the button text, those are all going to be available in almost all of them. Then we have, I skipped over these, but the default name value, email value, those are the prompt text or the hint text that will show up here in these boxes. This is what lets people, it kind of hints at, okay, what am I supposed to put in that box? All right, once they start typing something, it goes away. All right. Image. You can either upload a file or cut and paste in the URL for an image. So that's where this little ebook cover comes from, is from that URL. If you don't already have one and you need to make one, the developer here has provided a link to a product that will actually help you create that type of a cover. You want to make sure it's a maximum of 243 pixels wide and 270 pixels tall. So you don't want to deviate from those maximums. If you're using an existing ebook that somebody provided for you, they may have already provided such an image for you. If you're writing your own ebook from scratch, then it's a very, very good idea to have this image here, because this is what at least subconsciously communicates to people that they're receiving something physical, something of value. If you don't have an image like that and you're just offering an ebook, subconsciously it just doesn't register with people sometimes that they're getting something of value. So it's really kind of a critical thing that you do that. Bullet list. All right, so I have 3 bullets set up for this particular template. All right, so this is where they appear. You add them one at a time in the order that you like them. This particular theme allows up to 4 checkboxes. I've only used 3. There are some themes that allow 0. So whatever number it has here, don't go over that, because whatever is lower in the list is going to be omitted anyway, and that's intentional. The plugin designer was very wise in imposing that limit, because that kind of ensures high conversions. You want to maintain the look of that box, and anything more than that would probably screw it up. Display settings. This basically determines how, when, and where the box actually displays. All right, so the first question that the plugin is asking here is, when I close the button, how long should it be before it is shown again? So if I were to dismiss this by clicking the check, how many days or how many visits really do I want it to wait before it pops up again? Now, because this is a new site and I'm heavily testing it, I have all of these times set very, very short so that I don't have to wait to see what the new result is. So I've picked one which is the minimum. 0 is not, and he tells you right here, 0 is not an acceptable answer there. It's invalid, so it won't operate correctly if you put a 0 there. The next question is, how many times must the site be visited before the pop-up appears? All right, so you may not want this pop-up to appear on somebody's first visit. In my case, I do on this particular campaign. The reason why this system allows you multiple campaigns is you may actually have a strategy where you show somebody one pop-up on their first visit, but maybe on subsequent visits you want to make the offer a little bit stronger. They've seen value in your website, they've come back for a second, third, fourth, maybe fifth visit, so you can be a little bit stronger with your offer there. So these are all various things you can do to ensure that people are seeing the pop-ups that you want them to see when you want them to see it. The next question is when should or what should trigger the pop-up to display. There's a whole bunch of choices here. The default is when the page first loads. Alright, so that's kind of what most people usually do. And then it also is asking you how long should it wait in seconds before it shows it. Again, I have it set for 1 second, but that's because I'm testing. I recommend that you wait at least 5 or 10 seconds once you have a live site. That's because if nobody's been to your site before and they come there and you immediately pop up a box that covers what they were trying to read, sometimes people feel kind of duped or tricked. So it's good to wait, give them a chance to see that yes, this is the right website, this is where I wanted to be, and then show them the offer. All right, your other choice next here is when the mouse leaves the browser viewport. All right, so most mobile devices won't trigger this because you don't have a mouse. All right, so that's a choice there. When the user reaches the bottom of the page, so maybe you want to allow them to read all the content, and this is a good one to use if you have an offer that's really specific to the post or the page that they're reading. All right, that way they've gotten the value out of the page, now you can offer them something more. Next is when the user tries to leave the page. Now this requires that Java be installed and not be blocked in any way. All right. The next one is when the visitor selects a specific object. Could be images, buttons, links, etc. When you make that selection, it's going to give you a class code to add to those items. So if these are things you're not comfortable doing, adding classes to your items, then you don't want to select this because it won't work otherwise. The next is when the user clicks on a small tab, and then how far down the screen should it be in pixels, and it defaults to 120. So basically what it's looking for is basically a third of the way down the page there will be a tab that people can read the content, and if they want more information they can click that tab and it'll load your pop-up. I generally use this top one though when the page first loads, and as I said, I usually give them at least 5, 10, maybe 15 seconds before I have that pop. The next question is how should the pop-up appear to your visitors? The primary thing that it's asking here has to do with animation. Alright, so you have a drop-down box here. You can have it appear immediately with no effects, you can have it simply fade in, or you can either have it slide in from the top, the bottom, from the left, or the right. So in this particular one I have it sliding from the left, and we'll leave that alone that way. You have a couple check boxes here that you don't have to check. You can allow this pop-up on mobile devices or disallow it, so you just uncheck it to disallow it. Show pop-up backdrop. I highly recommend that. It gives a little bit of a background color to your pop-up. You don't really even notice it, but that defaults to on as well. Next, where should the pop-up appear to your visitors? Alright, it defaults to center, but again you also have a choice of top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. I almost always do mine at the center, but sometimes you want to do it to the top or the bottom on either left or right, just because you don't want it to totally cover what they're looking at. So some of that's a personal preference, and some of that is specific design or choice, but these are all things that you can test. We're going to be talking about A/B testing here in a little bit, and these are little things that you can tweak and test. Next question is, do you wish to disable the option to close the pop-up? I want to really warn you about whether to do that or not. I almost always allow people to close the pop-up. The but that I'm going to provide to you is that if you have a website that is either member-based or has extremely loyal subscribers, then you can probably safely require them to put in their information. But absolutely requiring them to do so in order to see any information usually is counterproductive. And again, it kind of gives people the perception that you're kind of holding your information hostage in exchange for email addresses. So you don't want to really do that, again, unless you have a very loyal following. On what pages do you wish this campaign to display? Now, if you're brand new and you're just going to have one pop-up campaign initially, you probably want to just show this everywhere. All right, you can even hit toggle on, but everywhere accomplishes that as well. But if you have specific content or a specific offer for specific content on your website, you may only want this to show in certain places. I'll give you an example. Let's go back and have a look at this other website I've been building. All right, this is called Travel Decks. It heavily discusses aspects of cruise travel, but that's not the only type of travel it discusses. So even on this particular page, I give an in-content offer. All right, this website actually does a pop-up at the beginning as well, but once you're within the content of the website, it doesn't show you that. This is an offer for an insider's guide to cruising. All right, so I only show this offer on pages that are related to cruise travel. If I'm on a page about how to get low-cost airfare, I'm going to show an offer that's related to airfare, probably not cruising. So this is where you can really get specific and have multiple campaigns on a particular website and tailor the offer. Even if you're offering them the exact same ebook, I would use different bullet points, use different titles, use different description or short paragraph, tailored to the content that's on that particular page to make it more appealing for people. So this is where you would do that. You could either click on individual pages. So for example, I could go down here and just tell it I want it to show on those various pages. Or in posts, you can tell it to either show on both category pages or individual posts within the various categories, and you would basically do that by clicking the various categories. So you could be specific with which categories. Now, if you're going to promote your website, you may have situations where you're going to promote a link somewhere and it's not a good idea to show the pop-ups. If that's the case, it's going to give you, for this specific campaign, it's going to tell you to put this question mark PDREF equals 1. All right, the 1 is the campaign number that we're editing. All right, so you would actually add that to the end of any URL that you are promoting, and that will prevent the pop-up from displaying. So that may be a good idea. Certain social media, certain websites, certain bookmarking sites, it's against their terms to allow pop-ups like that. So you'd want to make sure that you would add that to the end of that URL that you're promoting. But that's a reason for using in-post promotion, the various opt-in boxes like what I was showing on the cruising page, because that doesn't violate the terms and conditions because you're not covering up the content that you're promoting. So the last choice here under the display settings is show based on referral. This is a very powerful section here. While I don't use it a lot myself, it's still very powerful when I do use it because I do promote links on Facebook. So I typically have campaigns that are specifically designed for people that I've promoted from Facebook. So maybe I want the headline to say, hey Facebook friends, start cruising for lower costs or something like that. That campaign, I would click Facebook and save, and then my website software has the capability, and it's built into it, as is most website software, to know where somebody browsed from. If somebody directly types in a URL into their box at the top, that's called a direct referral. So they would not see this campaign. If they came from Google and they did a Google search and found this URL, they wouldn't see this campaign either. Same for Twitter. So, or you could say all three. So that's kind of the power of that particular tool. Any questions so far? Probably, but we're not done yet. Now this particular tab on this particular campaign, this is where you find a button that says clear my cookie. Anytime you've saved your settings, you want to hit clear my cookie. Why do you want to do that? Well, because if I've told this to only show every 7 days and I need to now see what this looks like, when I refresh this screen, I'm not going to see it. But by clearing the cookie, I will. So I'm going to actually refresh this screen so you can see our little campaign slide in from the left, just like that. All right, so that's how you do that. Mailing list. Now, if you've not already set up a mailing list, this would be blank. Now, I already have a mailing list through Aweber set up for this. So you would drop down and you would select the one that you've already pre-programmed here, which I'm going to show you do in a second. Now, one of the choices you always have is none required. Some of the campaigns are designed to directly forward or reroute you to another website. So for example, you may just have the pop-up come up. So let's say I had a pop-up that comes up that says, hey, would you like to have a cool pop-up like this on your website? Click below and I'll show you how. And it would directly take you to the PopUp Domination sales website, frankly, and you would have the opportunity to buy it there. All right, so that would be a none required because I don't need your email or your name for that. I'm just going to directly send you to a sales site. All right, so let's say I did not have anything set up here. He provides a little key right there where you can do setup as part of the process. You would give your mail configuration a name and a description. Just like you did with the campaign itself, you would do something like that here. But this is just the mail setup part of it. Now, this plugin has interaction already set up for the big mail list manager tools. So we have MailChimp, we have Aweber, we have iContact, we have ConstantContact, CampaignMonitor, and GetResponse. Now you have some other choices here. This one, you literally would just put in your email address and it would just email you the details. All right, so they're not going to be getting an autoresponder or anything like that. You literally are just going to get an email with their information. All right, if you tell them you want to redirect them after opt-in, you say yes, and you can put a URL here. You don't have to ask for somebody's name, so you can disable the name field if you wanted to. You could say submit to a new window, and all that's going to do is pop up a new window to confirm it. HTML form code. This is where you would paste in code if you used a service that was not provided over here, but you set up a form. You paste in this code here, it's going to extract the field for the name, it's going to extract the field for the mail address, and it's going to extract the form URL information for you. and then you have the same settings down here. Now you can also set up custom fields. All right, so you can have fun with this if the particular template supports extra fields. For example, you may have a campaign where you need to ask for a phone number. Maybe you ask for an age, things like that. One of the hot things that people are starting to do with opt-in forms now is to ask specific questions for people. Sometimes it's even free form. So it's like, tell us why you're interested in this offer. Let's say it's weight loss. What's your 30-day goal to lose weight? Things like that. And some of these list services automatically now will, based on your response, tailor the campaign that it sends you based off your response. So this HTML form code is really helpful if you're using something that's not supported here. For example, GoGVO's system is not supported directly by PopUp Domination, but you can create the form and cut and paste the code in here, and then it will. All right, so when you're done, then you would hit Save Changes. It would take you back to the campaign, and it would literally take you back to this point, and then you could select it. These next two fields are optional. You can enter an email address if you'd like to receive an email every time somebody opts in. Now, I normally don't have something here. I just have it here for now for testing, because I don't want to wait for a confirmation from Aweber to tell me it works. So when I see this confirmation and then I see the Aweber confirmation comes in, then I know the entire process is working correctly. And then you also have a box here where you can put in a Google goal code. So that's kind of an advanced feature. If that's something you're interested in, Google it, and you can actually find out more information about Google goal code. I probably will make a video about that down the road. If I have, I'll add that annotation here to the description so you can find that as well. Launch preview. I don't have a lot of luck with this. I'll show you that it's going to come up very, very small. Not quite sure why that isn't working correctly. I've got an email to the developer. I'm not sure if that's an issue with Firefox. I actually use Firefox whenever I'm setting up PopUp Domination, because I find that it doesn't work very well with Chrome, for example. So like in Chrome, when you're in Look and Feel, you don't always see this preview image here. Just like if you're at the main campaign menu where you have the previews here, these previews don't show on the side either when you're in Chrome. So I recommend that you use Firefox. All right, we talked about the mailing list manager. If you needed to actually tweak or make changes to a campaign, you could do that here. If a campaign is very close to something you already have, you can actually duplicate it and then just modify it. You can actually do that with campaigns as well. We're about to talk about A/B testing, and the easiest thing to do with A/B testing is to literally duplicate a campaign. All right, so we're gonna duplicate it, and you'll see it's here at the bottom and it says copy. I'm going to edit it. All right, I'm going to actually come over here and call it B test. All right, everything else about this campaign right now is the same. So let's say I just want to test it with blue. All right, so I'll come up here. It's the pop-up. I'm going to say test blue button. You only want to change one thing at a time. You don't want to be changing a whole lot here. All right, so we do save changes. All right. Now when I come over to this A/B testing feature, all right, we come over here. All right. I'm sorry, it's taken just a moment to load up. You're going to give it another split name. All right. So I'm going to say that this is the the basic affiliate offer. All right, Aweber with orange button. All right, and I'm telling it to use the first campaign because that's the one with the orange. I'm going to say how much do I want it to show. Well, this is the campaign that draws the most for me, so I'm going to say I want it to show 80% of the time. All right, everything else I want to be identical here because you don't want it to change too many things at the same time. All right, and I'm not quite sure why it didn't save that way, but let's see if it's that way. There's something about this it's not liking. I apologize for that. We'll do save changes. All right, so that's the orange button. And then we need to go change this. And we want this one, it seems to have reversed them everywhere. So here in my lesson I may have kind of done these in the reverse order, so it may have screwed us up here. Go back to the A/B testing here. Alright, so that says orange button. That's correct. This should be the blue button campaign. That's correct. That should say 20%. And then this should be 80%. And that's 80%. So now what we do is we turn that on. We turn that on. All right. And then we need to go back to one of our campaigns. Doesn't really matter which, but what we're going after here is we want to go back into the display settings and clear our cookie. And then what we want to do is we want to see if it's going to show us the blue button. Now again, because I have it set as 80%, it's not necessarily going to do that every time. So it's not going to show us the blue button right now, but that's how that works. All right. So we're going to go back now that we've cleared that to test it. Now we go back to Analytics. And you can see here where it's showing you the analytics really for everything. All right, so we've got the 3 campaigns, but if you want just the specific A/B testing analytics, you would go here and it'll sometimes have some data here, but this is the real raw data that you're looking at here. It'll show you how much is pulling and how much is converting and things like that. Now you'll see that I have all zeros here. I literally just created the B test. And I literally just created these campaigns in the last few days, so I'm not even promoting these. The reason why I have 1% gone down from the prior image is because I'm doing this at the beginning of May, and I first set this up the last couple days of April. Theme installer. This particular plugin comes with 6 themes already installed, but there's actually additional types of themes. So the ones that are already installed, you literally would just hit a 1 in here and then click Install Theme, which is already installed, but it's going to tell us that it installed it again anyway. There are multiple themes and theme packages that are available for sale. They're all sold through ClickBank, so once you've purchased one, you don't have to download any software and then upload any software. You literally just cut and paste over your ClickBank receipt number over here and then click Install Theme, and then it uploads it for you. So these are the things that are kind of available. You have a multi-theme pack for $27. A pop-up theme with video. This is very good if you don't really need buttons and things like that, because and the check marks and a picture of the book, because you're doing all the telling and selling in the video anyway. You literally just need their email address and their phone number. So that's a good theme to use as well. So there's a number of different styles here that go all the way down. But I will tell you that if you've not purchased this plugin before, and you're going to do so, if you're able to take advantage of it, they usually offer you the opportunity to buy, it's some ridiculous number. I want to say it's like 90 different templates. So if you're going to be doing a lot of different experimenting and a lot of different kinds of pop-ups, you end up getting all of that for, gosh, I want to say the fifth of the cost. It's like $40 or something like that, and you end up getting 90 themes or something like that. So that's certainly an opportunity. I don't vary a lot from the basic themes, so I usually don't have very many of these. Your next menu item says Sell PopUp Domination. So if you're interested in actually telling people that you're using the pop-up, you can sign up for ClickBank seller's account, and you would put your ClickBank ID in here and then click the Promote PopUp Domination, and then what it'll do, and honestly I do not remember if this shows at the bottom of these. Alright, it does not show within an in content, but it will show here over here. So let's have a look at this. We've got to clear our cookie so that we can see that pop up again. So as long as you remember to go to display settings, you'll be okay. Alright, so now we're going to have that pop-up show for us again. Alright, and you see down here where it says Powered by PopUp Domination. Now if you uncheck that, there won't be anything there at all. Alright, so it's pretty subtle. It's not a hard sell, but you know, sometimes people, you know, see things and, you know, they wonder, well, how did they do that? They can click on that and find out how you did that. And if it's something they're interested in, then they can purchase it. And if they purchase it, then you get money. Support. So one of the other wonderful things about this plugin for WordPress is that you don't have to go outside of your setup to ask for support. So you just click that link, you put in your name, your email address. They usually want your ClickBank order number. Not that, you know, if you're asked, you know, if you're asking a pre-sales question, sure, they'll answer it, but the way this goes to the developer, he doesn't necessarily know that you sent this request from inside PopUp Domination, so the order number helps them make sure that they give you support. And then you can come over here and pick the specific types of questions. He even allows you to give us testimonials. So if you're wanting to plug them, tell them how much you love the plugin, you can do that there. You can also upgrade from this area. So the two upgrades that are showing for me here are multiple websites, which not entirely sure why it's not seeing this, but I actually have a multiple website license. And then you also have what's called a client license. So you can get a multiple website license, which does not restrict you to the number of your own personal sites, which is what I have. But if you're actually going to set up sites for clients, then you need to actually get this 20 client license. But you can do that from all within as well. All right, so that is how all of that works. So I hope that this has been really helpful for you. If it has been, or even if it hasn't been, feel free to comment, send me a message, share the video, share the article, share the links. I think while the developer of the plugin does a very, very good job of showing you how to set up everything, he doesn't show it to you in a real world context like I just did. I'm an actual user of it, have been for a long, long time. I've done both standalone versions as well as WordPress plugins. Lately, it's mostly been WordPress based because I haven't had any clients that have been doing standalone software lately. So again, hope you're having a great week. Continue to have a wonderful day and look for my next video.